Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show, where we explore ways to get healthy, wealthy, and wise. With a combination of guest interviews and solo episodes, I hope you will be inspired and motivated to become the best of whatever you are. I'm Elle Russ, #1 best-selling author and subject expert with over a decade of helping thousands of people across the globe. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about free guides, masterclasses, online courses, and more. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, back on the show, repeat offender, several times over the course of my podcasting career, Elizabeth Resnick. She is a double certified health coach. You've probably been following her on Instagram, and if you haven't, you should, because what she's doing out there is so inspiring and amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Elizabeth, how you doing?
I am doing great, Elle. So happy to be back as a repeat offender.
Repeat offender, and one of my great friends, Elizabeth, came out to LA. I'm happy to report I'm a very successful bikini photographer now. Elizabeth, want to tell them a little bit about your trip out to California, Southern California, and Malibu?
Okay, well, first I have to say Elle is the perfect California host, and always and has been from the first time that I met you in California back in 2017. And you were just the best host. You still are. So Elle is the best tour guide. She knows the best places to eat. We love the same food, so we're all about the burgers and the sushi. And all of the best, most hidden beach spots, mountain spots. I just had a bikini in my bag everywhere we went, and I'd be changing in restrooms or whatever. And we had the best time, definitely some adventures. There's some, rock climbing involved, all kinds of things, but it was the best time.
It was so much fun. Yeah, we had the best weather that week. You had the best bikinis. We just had all the places we want to go. Everything was seamless. We had so much fun, so many laughs, and yeah, burgers and sushi. I don't know. I could just live my life by that.
That's really all we need. That and our coffee in the morning, and we're good to go.
That's right. Look, it's been a while. You've been doing this a long time, over a decade, in terms of inspiring everybody with your knowledge of health and how you've done it for yourself. But just give us a quick rundown of the yuckiness that got you into this, all of the acne and the things, and just give us a quick redo on that, even though you've been on the show before. Yeah.
Super quick backstory. I don't have this dramatic weight loss story, like lost 100 pounds or reverse diabetes. But I had some major health struggles that I had most of my life. Chronic cystic acne, that is just, it fills you with shame. You don't want people looking at you. You don't want people to be close to you. You're always wanting to cover up. You want your hair in your face, all these things. Checking your makeup. Did I cover that up right? So there's a lot of shame with that. And when you're growing up with that in middle school and high school, and then it continues into adulthood. So I was on Accutane. I did everything. We've told that story. Topicals, antibiotics, Accutane 3 times. I was also suffering from some major digestive distress off and on throughout my whole life. I just thought that's who I was. And there was anxiety that was somewhat situational. But again, as I got my diet together, a lot of things fell into place. So as part of this backstory, I was vegetarian, so I was vegan for over 30 years. And as a result of doing this, I respect everybody's dietary choices. And I was a healthy vegetarian. There were no, but the fake meat, there was no fake meat back then, beyond burgers, any of that stuff. So I was eating real food. But even though I was never had a weight problem, I would suffer from all types of bloating. There were times where I was almost too thin because everything was messing up my stomach, but I'd look bloated. And again, I just had a call that struck me. And again, can you see me?
It's all good. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And again, the acne, so the acne was always bothering me. And this went on and on and on. And again, vegetarian, thinking I'm eating the most possible clean, healthy diet, eventually went vegan, thinking that would be the solution. And things just got worse for me. And again, if vegan is working for somebody, keep doing it. But what ultimately cleared my skin was cutting out all of the sugars, even the sugars from the vegan treats made out of dates and all that stuff. Cutting out the sugars, cutting out the grains, even though they were soaked and sprouted. And since that basically left me with just fruits and vegetables, I started adding animal protein back in. First, eggs, some bone broth, some ground beef. And I found that, first of all, the inflammation, the pain in my face went down almost overnight. But a month in, my skin was clear. And then I started noticing that the anxiety was gone. Not gone, but so much diminished. The digestive troubles, like my stomach was flat all of a sudden. So, and I mean, I post my abs
Yep,
every
everyone
single
can
day.
go see her flat abs on Instagram. She's flashing them all the time, so you can just take a
Yeah.
look,
So
see what this
you
kind
can
of
see
work
my
does for
belly
you.
is flat now every single day. So it was just like finding out Santa Claus was real or something. It's just like every day he was like Christmas, you wake up feeling so good. And so I wanted to share this with the world. And that was why I started out with a blog. I first got a health coaching certification because I wanted to have some credentials. Started out as a blog back in 2015 and made my way onto Instagram, and then found I just really loved video. And it just started taking off for me. I started sharing this story um, that eventually led to people asking me for weight loss tips. And because what I did to clear my skin also helps you stay lean and build muscle and all of the things. And along the way, I just became so passionate about this message that it's time to tell a new story about aging. That really, when we start taking care of our bodies, eating right, moving our bodies, building some muscle, that confidence that it builds, it just changes. It can really change the whole trajectory of your life, which is certainly what it's done for me.
And you are 58 years old, and
Yes.
you're always like, hey, 58 no filters. If you go onto Elizabeth Instagram, she doesn't use any filters at all. And she's just like, hey, here I am. You are in your bikini all the time. You're like, here's what it is. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And you also have a couple of cookbooks which have changed people's lives. So let's just
Yeah.
talk about some of the people that have just dropped like 20, 30 pounds by just following the recipes in your book. And
Yeah.
this is not like BS, whatever. This is like legit DMs. They people, Elizabeth Resnick.
Yes.
Yes, her friends on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yes. And what the thing is, these are people of all ages, men and women.
One was
So I published.
72, right? Wasn't it
Yes.
some
Okay. Yes. So, Janet is 73. She bought my first cookbook. She wanted to lose some weight because she had an upcoming hip replacement surgery. She wanted to be in the best shape she could be. She started following me on Instagram, bought my cookbook, used my recipes. She lost 12 pounds. She said she was never hungry. It was the easiest time she ever had losing weight. Then she got my balance trainer because she saw my workouts. And she went into her hip replacement surgery in like the best shape of her life. She had the most amazing recovery. Danny, who's 63, lives in Vegas, just started following, my tips, bought my cookbook, lost 20 pounds. He's kept it off. He had to buy new pants, but which is great, which we
I
laugh
love
about.
that. That's the best
But you literally
like testimonial ever.
you have to buy new pants. But what he said too, he realized is that over the holidays at a time when his work was really busy, this was the first year that he wasn't in pain, inflamed. Like he's not taking anti-inflammatories anymore because his inflammation has gone down because of the way he's eating. So he didn't just lose weight, some quick fad thing. Like he's eating in a way that's really sustainable. And sometimes he'll send me pictures of like the giant steak he made for dinner. Like Danny is eating well.
Yeah.
He's not cutting, he's just enjoying real food. And in his 60s, lost weight and has never felt better. So I get these stories all the time. And it's just Deb, who worked with me one-on-one for a bit. But again, using these same tips, Deb is a year older than I am, struggled with her weight her entire life. Like she'd lose it, but then it would on some very rigid program. But then you're off the program and it would always come back. And they were always struggled with the sugar cravings. She was very knowledgeable about health, very well read, but it took, sometimes you need somebody to break it down. And I just make it so simple. Deb lost 25 pounds and she's kept it off. I don't know, it's been 2 years now.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
here she is approaching her 60s now loving going clothes shopping, instead of covering up, saying, oh, wow, I felt good in the sleeveless dress. All these things, like it's just this whole new lease on life. That's what gets so exciting.
I It's funny because, I mean, as with anyone who would be on a profile in their bikini, you're gonna get, we joke some, on your profile, we go into the comments, we get, you get trolls and stuff. Everybody does. And one of the things though is people will be like, "Oh yeah, you probably don't eat." No, no, no. Like you eat. I've seen Elizabeth eat, but it's just if you look at the ratio of protein compared to carbs, that's the game. And
Yeah.
that's the game she plays very well and remains satisfied. That's how you're satiated. That's how you have
Mhm.
enough cholesterol, the right kinds of cholesterol and fats
Right.
to sustain you and fuel you. So, um, you're also a small person, right? We're both
Yeah.
tiny people.
We're small people.
So right, like clearly, Gabrielle Reese, who's 6'4" and a volleyball player athlete with quite a stature, is gonna like just consume more calories overall than
Right.
people who are small like us. But I just think people are shocked to see, like, I've seen you eat just huge fatty, greasy burgers with just I've said just yeah, just talk a little bit about like just it's so funny to me that people think somehow it is real is what I'm saying to
Right,
everybody.
right. Like people
They've
always say,
seen
"Oh,
it
you're
and
starving yourself."
it's
This one guy said,
sustainable.
"You must be so restricted, or do you just live on celery sticks?" And I was like, "I don't really like celery that much. Like I eat carrots, but not celery." But no, it's like breakfast. I eat what's in my fridge at any given moment. There's ground beef, there's eggs, there's usually some really good fish in the freezer. Like I have some really nice tuna steaks right now. Um, that's how I eat every day. It's just protein. When I say prioritize protein and produce, I mean that it really is how I live my life. It's not like this cute saying that I talk about on Instagram. That's just the way I live because it just simplifies things. Like you can be at a convenience store or a five-star restaurant and you can apply this. It's not that you need your special shake or bar or like track every macro. Like that's useful information, macros, but like I can just eat this way and live my life. I mean, I'll never forget. It shows what a good friend you are. You picked me up at the airport with a hard-boiled egg and a carrot. And I was like, this is my perfect snack.
I was like, she's gonna get off that 5-hour flight. She's gonna want a little protein zappers.
Yeah.
Um, no, and I think too, people are like, well, what do I do? I'm like, do you have a grocery store near your house? And they're like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, there you go. I mean, you can walk in and be in a jam and walk up and get some meat from the deli. You can go get, I mean, it's just so easy, even on the fly. But I think people are confused and they don't really realize this. So prioritizing protein and produce is the name of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really, in my second cookbook, I really dove into how to make this practical, like when you don't have time to cook. That same thing. Like if you're at the literally run into the grocery store, go grab some deli meat, like you can make this work. Most convenience stores have hard boiled eggs now. It's really not hard. Like you can make it may not be the most optimal thing, but it will there's you can use this anywhere you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done it so many times where I've been in a jam and I'm just like grocery store, go up, get a little meat and cheese together and just
Yeah.
down it, throw in an apple, and you're on your way.
You're on your way.
You don't have to do
Exactly.
fast food on the road. You just stop by grocery stores and
Yeah.
get kind of stuff, and it's going to be better than eating fast food. So let's talk a little bit about. So this is the third time that you have run for Maxim CoverGirl,
Hmm.
which is a contest they have ran. And tell us a little bit about the first experience because now Elizabeth has gained over 100,000 followers, which is so fantastic through her message and inspiring others. And so she's running again this year. And so please, everyone, we will put in the show notes, but you need to go. Well, tell us, everyone, your Instagram handle. And, there's a link in your Instagram that you could just
Yes.
vote for her.
Yeah, so if you go to my Instagram, it's a long handle, but as soon as you start typing it in, I should pop up. You'll see my face. Happy, healthy, and hot underscore Elizabeth. Um, and so I am, and right at the top of my page, you'll see a link to vote for Elizabeth, Maxim CoverGirl. So I'm doing this. It is the third time. Third time's the charm. It has been such a growth journey. I am so grateful for this experience. So the first time I did it was back in 2020. And, it was the pandemic and we were at home and I saw something about it I was on my phone a little more than normal, saw something about an Instagram and I entered as a whim. On a whim, it just said, because I was looking at the rules, like, what are the rules to enter? And it said must be 18. And I was like, okay, check. And they wanted you to upload at least like 3 pictures and, write up a little something. And I thought, I'm just going to do this. And then once I entered and I realized that I was in this thing, I got this email saying, you've been accepted. I had a lot of doubt. What are people going to say? What are people going to think? This is ridiculous. I'm 53 years old. What am I doing? But I just somehow got the courage. I said, you know what? You actually want to do this. This, like, it excited me. It excited me, the thought of this. So, and part of me thought I'm just going to be voted out. It starts with voting, and part of me thought I'd just be voted out really quickly, but I wasn't. So I made it through 5 rounds of cuts that first year to the quarterfinals. And at that point, I was voted out, pretty quickly. And I was like, wow, that was an amazing experience. I didn't ever think I'd do it again, but it taught me to be bold. It taught me to show up every day and ask for what I wanted, literally show up on social media, asking people to vote. I got creative with photo shoots, with making things happen. I mean, I had an idea for doing a photo shoot with a snake, and 4 days later, I'm rolling around the mud with a snake at my sister's house. Like we just got super bathtubs, the woods, like whatever. It just was really fun and creative in a way to express myself. And I found out that along the way, I I truly was inspiring people, and there were people following me around, like, from across the world. There's a woman I think she's in the Philippines. Her name's Viv. That we were already friends on, Instagram, I guess, and Facebook. And she was really excited about this. She started asking her family to vote. She voted every day. Well, I just heard from Viv this morning to say, Elizabeth, I'm still voting for you every single day. So,
I
like,
love it.
and I just love it. So seeing the support that I received from some people that I didn't really know, and even from old friends supporting me, it was really exciting. And then it was also, I was had to deal with some people that I thought would support me aren't. There's people that I'm texting who never texted me back just to say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Like, not to say, hey, like, even if they said they were going to vote and they didn't, like, they just ignored my texts. And that's a hard, somebody you've known for years that isn't getting back to you. It
Yeah,
just,
feels like a diss, yeah.
yeah, it felt like it. And I just had to be like, well, that's okay. There's plenty of other people out there. So it was really, I learned so much about myself that I could feel, okay, I'm not supported by this person, and it's okay because I'm going to support myself. And meanwhile, all these other people are coming forward, maybe that I didn't expect, and supporting me. So I was so grateful for that experience, and, hadn't really planned on doing it again. I mean, I was 53, I was like, well, that was fun. And then somehow last year, the bug just hit me and I decided to do it. And at that point, I had a much larger audience. It was around 50,000 on Instagram. And last year was bigger, bolder. I went further. I made it I fell shy of the quarterfinals in the last hour, of the semifinals in the last hour. So almost made it in front of the judges. And every time I've done it, I've just learned, I've grown, I've shared this. I've gotten really passionate about this message that it's time to tell a new story about aging. And it's about more than parading around in a bikini. Like, I love bikinis. I love the beach. Like, that's who I am. But when I say tell a new story about aging, it's about, like, you get to decide what it looks like for you. But it doesn't have to be the bullshit story that we've all been told, that you have to
Yep.
shrink back and you get old and you slow down and you don't do stuff. It's like, it's such a great time to really recreate your life, especially for people that have been raising children or maybe super involved building a career, whatever the situation is. And that is where we are getting into our 50s and our 60s. It's kind of a time to reevaluate, what do I want to do with my life? So that's really what I want to do with this. I do want to inspire people to take care of themselves physically, because it's not just about looking cute in a bikini is great. But you know what's real even better is waking up being, like, energized and confident and clear headed and excited about what you're doing. And that's really what this is about.
Yeah, or even take it a step further, and it's about not being 80, breaking your hip, and having it be a
Yeah.
death sentence because you get pneumonia in the hospital and you didn't work your lungs enough to do the thing. And it's about organ reserve, right? When we're talking
Right.
about strength training. So it's really like life or death stuff, really, in the long run.
It
And
is.
I mean, one of the worst things that that perimenopausal and menopausal women here, when they're trying to seek relief for, crazy symptoms, is like, oh, well, this is just like I'm gaining weight, and they're like, oh, well, it's just a part of getting old. Don't let anyone tell you that. Okay.
It
There's
doesn't need
solutions, you
right,
know?
right. It doesn't need to be. And at the same time, women say, "Oh, I'm just cutting back," and I hear that, and then I also see a lot of big glasses of wine and things like that.
Yeah.
And this isn't casting judgment, but I'm saying, you really need to look at what you're putting into your body and pay attention to that because it what we're eating is just it's information for ourselves, and it's making it's if we're eating the right things, we can build muscle, we can have healthy, firm skin, we can have all the, we can have all these things. And it starts with what we're putting into our bodies.
Yep. It is. So, I mean, I think the worst thing about if someone's coaching with me on thyroid, is that dietary discussion. Some people have it already nailed down, and they're really like
Right.
already did it and already are, have done it. And there's another piece they need to take. But the
Yeah.
other people, it's like a real serious talk. And usually it's how quickly do you want to get better? Because it's literally just that question. And if
Yeah.
someone's like, well, I immediately like to be better as soon as possible, then you're like, all right, well, mouth to anus is what we have to talk about. It's really the only thing, especially when you talk about Hashimoto's and some other autoimmune diseases where gluten is a primary
It-
igniter. And so,
yeah.
it's tough, but it's not necessarily a life sentence, but it just goes to show you how, and I've just seen such transformations. You've seen antibodies drop and things like this. And so when that happens, you just go, my God, I mean, sometimes it's just someone removing something,
Remove
and it's
something
not
and then
really
they get to
killing their
add,
whole vibe. It's not killing their
right.
dietary fun.
And then you get to eat so many good things like
Yeah.
steak and burgers and, delicious fish and all
Sushi,
these
fish.
things. And, and even the people, even when they don't have the true autoimmune, I've seen so many people just feel so much better when they're
Yes.
cutting out the gluten, or cutting way back
Or aches and pains,
gluten
go
and the
away and
grains
they're
and things,
not
right? The aches and, like Danny, aches and pains just gone. He's not taking anti-inflammatories anymore.
all right, how is this time around now? Because Maxim is going on as we speak.
Yeah.
You're still ranked 1 most days, at least since we last talked, so this will
Yes.
be coming out. I mean, check Elizabeth's page, by the way, because she's got a really interesting, fun thing she did that I
Yeah.
don't think she's gonna reveal, but you're gonna by
I'm
the time
doing so. I did it. It's ready. It's set up. It takes place tomorrow. Elle, you are one of, I could literally count on one hand right now, the people who know what I'm doing tomorrow.
I don't know.
So that will be on my page by tomorrow night.
So
Um,
by the time that you're hearing this
there's,
interview, it will already have been up there.
yeah.
Okay. Should we give a hint as to what they should be
I'm
looking
just gonna
for?
say it's so big. It's just so big.
Yep.
It is it's the biggest thing I've ever done. Um, and because I am giving this
All in.
everything that I've got. I have a message
Right.
to share. I'm passionate about it. And, as I said, I wasn't really planning to run for this third time at all. And then it was like, it just kept coming into my head. Like I had to do it. And then it was like, I was just seeing all these synchronicities and things telling me I needed to do it. And I just have been so fired up it's like at a whole new level this time. And, I have a larger audience. My audience has more than doubled since last year at this time.
Right.
Both on
The last
Instagram and
contest, yeah. And
yeah,
that's why I also wanted to bring you on because everyone, if you whether you know Elizabeth or not, but I just go to her Instagram, check out her message. It's been consistent for over forever. It's
over nine
always a good
years.
positive message on mindset, on food, on you can do it. It's so brave to be in a bikini and be filterless and just being like, here it is. This is what
Yeah,
it can be. It's as realistic and this is who I am. And I think that should be commended. And if everyone can take a minute to help Elizabeth out on this, let's make her Maxim dreams come true this
thank you.
third time the charm, right? I mean,
And third
let's
time
do it.
is a charm. And I want to say, it's not just about, yes, make my dreams come true, but like I always say, I'm doing this for me, but I'm doing this for all of us. Like, yes,
That's right.
I want this badly because this excites me. I love to be in the spotlight. Like, I'm just the most Leo of all Leos. I love the spotlight. I want to be on the cover of Maxim. I want to be on, but I'm doing this also for all of us. And when I say us, I mean all of the women and the men, because there's so many men really who are appreciating this message, who are like, yeah, thank you. Like, I am inspired now to work out. I'm doing my planks in the morning if I don't have time to get to the gym. So it's just really about getting this message that it's time to tell a new story about aging. And we get to decide. And that's why I'm doing this.
Okay, let's talk about a recipe you've posted many times.
Mhm.
But if you can share it here today, because
Sure.
it's a winner, the is it the brownies you make with the
The
potato?
50-calorie brownie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Share those for everyone right now because this is so easy. You can always rewind and pause and write it down, but this is like something you need to try.
I literally have this memorized. And so this is my most viral recipe. There was one reels of this several years ago that had over like 25,000 saves. So that's how popular this recipe has been. So basically you preheat your oven to 350. You need a little square pan. It's like an 8x8 pan. You take 2 cups of baked sweet potato, so already baked out of the skin. I put it in the blender with 4 eggs, 1 cup of unsweetened cocoa. I literally have this memorized. And about a cup, maybe a little less, of granulated monk fruit. Because that's not going to spike your blood sugar. I also add a splash of vanilla, and the little thing that really brings out the chocolate flavor is to add a tablespoon or 2 of instant espresso. That
Mm,
really it doesn't taste doesn't make them mocha flavored, but that thing about that little bit of espresso brings out the richness of the chocolate. You
yeah.
just blend all this up, pour it into your pan. I'm aligning the pan with parchment, bake it at 350 for about 35 minutes. Let them cool. You cut it into 16 little squares. Each brownie, I figured out the macros, is 50 calories. You will not believe it. And they're satisfying. Like when you eat a regular sugary brownie,
It's
sometimes
empty.
yeah, these are satisfying. So, I mean, you can eat 2 or 3, but you're going to be satisfied. And they honestly taste better after it. You need to store them in the fridge. They are a little gooey. They're fudge. If you like cake
Gotcha.
brownies, this is not your brownie. This is a fudgy brownie, but they taste even better after a day or 2 in the fridge. They freeze really well. And having those on hand, like making that on a Sunday, you've got them in the fridge. You get that, yeah, maybe you ate dinner early, you just want a little something. You can eat that. It's not going to you're not going to spike your blood sugar. You're actually getting a nice amount of fiber in there.
Yeah.
Um, and they are so delicious and so satisfying. And I just have so much fun taking them places because nobody can ever they're just like, oh my
No
gosh,
one
the brownies.
believes they're so
Yeah,
healthy,
yeah,
quote
I love your
unquote, or whatever.
brownies, and it's just like, oh yeah, they've got a little secret. But nobody can believe what's in them until you tell them.
Yeah, sweet potato's a great move. It's in a lot of things people don't realize, and you can use some of those things like even cauliflower for thickening soups, or
Yes, there's
certain of
so
those
many
kind of like paleo tricks. Yeah,
fun
it just
little tricks, but the real important key with these brownies, you need to do it in a blender. You could use a stand mixer, but even that doesn't blend. You really want to break up those sweet potato fibers. Otherwise, you're
clump.
gonna know there's sweet potato in there.
Oh, right, I gotcha. Yeah, it needs to just be
You need
get
to
it as
really blend it.
emulsified.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, we're going to put the links in the show notes, but before we wrap it up, let's give some more tips to everyone else. You say protein and produce. Give us some other tips or things that people have, some other faves, shares, and saves, and things that are
Absolutely.
favorites. Yeah.
Okay. So people often always ask me how to get a flat belly, how to get what's your abs secret? And I'm going to share really quick what I would say my top 5 tips for flat abs because they're really simple. So the first one is what we've been saying, prioritize protein and produce. Build your meals around high quality protein dense foods, fill in with colorful fruits and veggies. Number 2, cut the crappy processed carbs. And here's what I say, and this is tough love, if you eat dough, you're going to look like dough.
Yep.
If you're eating, it just is what it is. Number 3, banish the bloat, as in any foods that personally are making you bloated, you really shouldn't be eating a lot of them. Like, if you're having trouble digesting something, there's a reason for it. And yeah, you can get to the root of that and the bottom of it. But like for me, cruciferous veggies, I can't eat them in large quantities. I'm going to be bloated. So like pay attention to what makes you, if you know something makes you bloated, if you know something's making you gassy, like why are you eating it? So banish the bloat. Number 4, hydrate between meals. So there's kind of like old, people used to talk about drink a lot of water with your meal to fill up. Like that's messing with your digestion. So you really want to hydrate between meals. It's better for your digestion and you're just going to feel better. You're going to not be bloated. And then the last one, planks are better than spanks. So do planks every day. Just hold a plank for a minute and you won't need shapewear. Like doing planks, when you get a strong core, it's just like having your own built-in shapewear.
I love it. Those are some really, really great tips. Anything else you'd like to add to this sort of like, you know, you can do it. Don't have to go through a boot camp and
Yeah,
join the gym and get a personal trainer. Actually, 80% of your body composition is diet, right? So,
is
I
that
mean,
absolutely. So, I mean, I would just uh, advise anybody to, and I just did an interview earlier today with on a YouTube channel that deals with trauma survivors. And this man was talking about, he's really big on health and fitness. And I was talking about just if you could, when you feel, because he was like, some of these people feel stuck. So, and the same thing happens in, with women who have been struggling to lose weight and they've tried all these programs. Pick 2 small things that you could commit to doing every day and do those. And then build on those habits. So maybe it's just adding the protein making sure you're getting protein at your first meal and getting out for a walk, even if it's a short walk, just committing to a walk in the morning to get that, not just to move your body, you're getting the natural light in your eyes, but just to commit to like 2 small things and show up that you could do. They're so small that you could do them every single day. Like they just take a few minutes and you commit to doing those every day. And then you're showing up for yourself and that's going to build your confidence. And then you can build on those habits and keep adding. But instead of some rigid, 6-week bikini body program that second weekend, you're going to not have one of the right ingredients for the recipes, or you're going to miss the workout. You're going to say, I failed at the whole thing. I would say it's the small actions done consistently that compound over time to yield amazing results. And it really is.
they really do. And so, I mean, and your proof of it, this is a video version of the podcast. So you can go to YouTube and find it if you want to watch. But also, there's plenty of video of Elizabeth talking about all of these great tips and doing workouts even as well. You can scroll through her Instagram and it's a trove of all of these tips and get her cookbooks because it's easy. And I have them and both of them, there's nothing in there that's complicated. All right. She's not, no one's doing any complicated crazy shit out of a, cooking competition
They're the
like
easiest. I
yeah.
broke it down to make it. And then there's even tips for when you don't have time to cook. But these are the simplest recipes. It's like the stuff that I eat in real life. It's like stuff you eat in real life, not recipes that you look at and never actually make. It's real
Right.
food. Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Like your daily, regular, this is what we're
just
doing. Not,
normal stuff.
I have so many people got me cookbooks for gifts and I have some of them. And again, it's true. It's like half of the things in there, you're like, all right, when am I going to really go do this huge operation? That's like a
Right.
French culinary thing, which I'm down for, but that's like a whole thing.
But
No, we're not doing that every day.
yeah, not on a regular basis.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. And also just share again how people can get a hold of you or sign up to your newsletter and all of that.
Absolutely. Just on my Instagram page right now, the top link you're going to see is Vote for Elizabeth, MAXIM COVERGIRL. But after that, you'll see links to everything from my cookbooks, sign up for my email newsletter, which is just once a week. It's free. I'm not going to I'm not going to bombard you with emails. So, there's so much free information right there on my Instagram that anybody can take and run with.
I love it. All right, Elizabeth Resnick, thank you so much. And for everyone else, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Elle.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this show, I would so appreciate you leaving a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And to learn more about partner discounts on amazing products, visit elleruss.com/discounts.